We find ourselves in an endless cycle of stimulation, with things constantly grabbing our attention, from the newest advertisements to addicting social media apps to the newest movies and TV shows. What we don't realize is that these constantly keep us distracted in this endless cycle of stimulation, draining the most valuable thing that we have: time. It leaves us empty handed on an endless rat race instead of allowing us to take a step back, look at the bigger picture, ask deeper questions, and create the reality we prefer. So, in this episode, we're going to explore how we can shift from consumers to empowered creators. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Passion Over Fear. I'm your host, Jordan Curcio, and in today's episode, we're going to go through 3 ways that we can shift from being a consumer to an empowered creator. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, first, before I get into the 3 points, let me just start by explaining what do I mean when I say a creator versus a consumer. So, what I have here for a creator is someone who's actively carving their time, energy, and money in a conscious way that benefits their growth and the growth of the planet. This is a person that questions beyond the surface level narratives and stimulations, and a person that seeks progress, growth, and achievement beyond the perceived limitations offered by society. The one who seeks to go beyond the box that society is offering to keep us in. Now, it's important for us to be creators because we each have a unique perspective that is relevant to share with the world. No one has existed that is exactly like you, and no one will ever exist that is exactly like you, nor do they exist now. So, you offer a unique perspective tailored to you, and if each of us tapped into that a little bit more and shared that with the world, we would all feel much more fulfilled and we would all be of service to each other. So, a lot of us have this sense of uniqueness, but we don't even realize it because we're constantly distracted, consuming, and being stimulated. So, a lot of times that doesn't allow us to look back within, discover more of who we are. And when we look back and discover more about who we are, that can then channel into what we can create. So now let's get into the 3 ways we could shift from being consumers to creators. So the very first thing, the most important thing, is to properly plan and allocate your time. We're all given 24 hours in a day, and it's all about how we use the currency of time. So it's important to allocate: how much time am I spending scrolling on my phone? How much time am I spending watching those Netflix shows? Watching movies, whatever it may be. Make a map of your day and set aside, okay, 7, 8 hours I'm sleeping. This amount of time I want to take towards going to the gym. Whatever it may be, we need to properly allocate our time so that we're conscious of where we're putting our energy, where we're spending this valuable currency of time that we have. And beyond time, also the other resources of energy and money. What kind of things am I watching? How is it making me feel? Is it uplifting me? Is it empowering me? Is it informing me? Or is it just distracting me? Or is it feeding insecurity? And likewise, same thing with money. How many memberships do I have right now that I don't actually need? What kind of purchases am I making on a daily basis that feed my well-being versus purchases that are fed by insecurities? And this is also going to take some honest introspection, but these are the types of questions we need to ask so that we're being more conscious of where we're putting our time, money, and energy. Now, the second step for us to shift from consumers to creators is, once you're conscious of where you're allocating your time, money, and energy, now you set the goals that you want. Or you could do that before. These 2 points kind of work hand in hand, but set goals of what it is that where you want to direct your energy towards. what I do is I make a list. I open a Word document and I just make a list of every single thing that I might even be interested in doing. And you could prioritize it based on the degree of excitement you have for the different goals that you want. But for me, it's nice to just have everything written down in one place so that I could come back to it and see, like, maybe this goal that I had was like 10th on the list. Let's say I had a goal, I wanted to start meditating every day, go to the gym every day, and number 10 on the list is like DJing. But then I could revisit that list weeks later, a month later, and maybe my priority of those goals shifts. But it's good to have everything down written down rather than these ideas come to your mind and then you open your phone, start scrolling on Instagram, and that is now lost, that idea that you wanted to do because you got lost in being stimulated. So now, once you have a clear idea of the goals that you have and you're kind of allocating your time now you can start to sub out the things that you're doing in your time of consuming and into ways that you could actively be creating. So instead of those 2 hours watching Netflix or scrolling on Instagram, now you can substitute that to say, what is it that I want to fill in there? Do I want to put in 30 minutes to meditate? Do I want to put in an hour at the gym? Do I want to put in 30 minutes of me writing ideas for my content? 30 minutes of me doing research of how I can record videos for content. And just like that, you start to balance out your time, and little by little, each day, you make progress. And it makes the task seem much more doable rather than you just mindlessly being like, I have to figure out how to create this thing. But now you have time to say, I could set aside an hour each day, and this hour, put away everything else. I'm fully locking in and focusing on what it is that I set my goal to do. And then in that 1 hour, it's much more manageable to just be like, forget about everything else. I'm focusing on this. And this is what's going to get me to progress towards the goal that I have. And now you're working with time, you're working with your energy more consciously. And just like that, now you're actively creating your life. You're consciously molding and shaping your life rather than you falling victim to this endless cycle of stimulation. And then the third point of how we can shift from consumers to creators is to consume consciously. I'm not saying to give up everything and like never watch YouTube again, never watch Netflix, never scroll on Instagram. I'm just saying to do it consciously. So when you are taking the time to watch your favorite show, watch whatever it is, your favorite YouTuber, scroll on Instagram, be mindful of what things you're gravitating towards and ask yourself, what can I learn from these people? If you yourself want to be a content creator, look to the people that whose content you watch and say, what things are they doing that I could incorporate into my own creations? Or even if you're not necessarily trying to be a content creator, ask yourself, what things do I like about this show that I'm watching, about this creator that I'm watching? And now you'll start to understand your values. You'll start to understand what things you value in life. Why, ask yourself why you like this specific show or whatever it is. And now you're starting to learn more about yourself. And then, of course, you always are going to balance it out in moderation with whatever else it is that you want to actually create. But now you can actually take note of the things that you enjoy, why you like those things, and how you can incorporate that into your creativity, how you can draw from what it is that you consume as inspiration. And now you're actively, almost like in your downtime, creating in a sense, because you're drawing from that inspiration. And shifting from a consumer to a creator will change your life. It will empower you because you're actually starting to get to know yourself on a deeper level. For you to create, it actually makes you reflect within first before you put something out into the world. So the more you're diving into that, the more you're getting to know yourself, and that builds confidence because now you start to know who you are, how you want to show up in the world. And that's everything. So, yeah, my final message is to be a creator. I want to see you guys all out there thriving, because the more that each of us create, the more we inspire each other, the more we feed off of each other's wisdom and creativity. So, get out there, challenge yourself to create something, put it out into the world, and you'll see how rewarding it can be. So, with that said, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on the next episode. Peace.